3 years ago, my brother was diagnosed with Parkinson's. A few months later, that diagnosis was changed to terminal brain cancer. And a few months later, he was dead. Today's readings remind us of the truly important things in our lives, and that who we are is of much greater importance than what we have. The gospel begins by introducing a man who wants Jesus to act as a mediator in a property dispute. And so he begs, "Master, tell my brother to give me a share of the inheritance." Now, it was quite common to bring such disputes to a rabbi to be solved. But for Jesus, it wasn't relevant that the man should get a fair share of his inheritance if he already had enough to satisfy his daily needs. Instead, Jesus gives a warning. He uses the occasion to speak on the subject of greed, that excessive desire for wealth and material goods. And then he tells the story, a parable about a rich man, one who stores up personal treasures, but is not rich in what matters to God: love, mercy, forgiveness, the good of the other. Now, we all have certain needs: food, shelter, clothing. But when our possessions become more important than spending time with God, our families, our friends, we've lost our way. The rich farmer, he wasn't portrayed as a sinful person. He didn't seem to steal or cheat from his laborers. It was a good growing season that made him rich. He was most likely honest, skilled, and smart, but not smart in the things that really matter. The man was rich in material goods, but poor in his relationship with God and others. It's also worth noting that there are no other people mentioned in the story. He himself was the center of everything. Nothing else mattered. No one else mattered. The bountiful harvest was there purely and simply for his enjoyment. Fool, this very night the demand will be made for your soul. And the hoard of yours, this hoard of yours, whose will it be? Or as we heard from the reading from Ecclesiastes, vanity of vanities. Every man who has labored wisely, skillfully, and successfully will die and leave what is his to someone who has not toiled for it at all. His laborious days and his restless nights were for nothing. So it is, continues Jesus, when a man stores up treasure for himself instead of making himself rich in the sight of God. As St. Augustine said, "You are what you love, and if what you love is stuff, profits, the things of this world, then you are guaranteed only one thing: that you will lose them all. If your hope and your joy are bound up in material goods, at your death, you will lose all of your hope and joy." We get some hints of a better alternative in that second reading, which is from the letter to the Colossians. You must look for things that are in heaven, where Christ is. Paul isn't telling us to close our eyes to reality and just hope for the best, but he is urging us to identify our understanding of life and our values with those of God. And this requires some progress towards true knowledge, a knowledge not found in a university degree, but through an understanding of life and relationships with people. It involves being ever more renewed in the image of our Creator. Our image, our creation in the image of God, gives us a beautiful vocation and a destiny. We are made for relationship with God and with each other. And not just any kind of relationship, a relationship of mutual love and care. In a society that wants to emulate the kingdom of God, we don't need the security of an inheritance or that great big winning lottery ticket. Our security comes from being part of a loving and caring community, one that takes care of each other's needs. Today's readings ask us to consider another approach to life. It's important to remember, Jesus isn't saying you must give up all the things you have and lead a life of bleak misery. But he is offering us a much more secure way to happiness, a life of real enjoyment. Against the greed that obsesses people, Jesus offers the alternative: share. And unfortunately, we all know right now, people are struggling to make ends meet. Prices for food, housing, gas, electricity, rising beyond what some fixed incomes can handle. Today would be a great day to remember your favorite charities, especially those here in Houston who support the people of our community. Catholic Charities, Casa Juan Diego, the Christian Community Center, any of the food banks, and the list goes on. Let us not be like the rich farmer. Now is a great time to share some of our blessings.
Please like, subscribe, or comment below.